Alrighty, everyone, welcome back to another live stream here on the channel. Hopefully everyone is having a great Thursday so far. We've got a long day, and I really should say a long night of severe weather ahead of us for tonight into technically tomorrow morning. Before I get started, I do want to mention what Caden said right there. Talking about the downgrade. They downgraded tomorrow's risk. They downgraded it from enhanced to slight. Not too sure why. I believe tomorrow is going to be another significant day for severe weather, and it will also likely be into the overnight hours before things really get going. I think we have a really good chance for a nocturnal, I almost want to say tornado outbreak. Because of how potent the environment should be tomorrow. It will likely be more in the form of a line. So it'll be like a line of damaging winds with a bunch of spin-up tornadoes, maybe even a strong tornado. So tomorrow, definitely think it should be a 30 hatched hail risk, 30% wind, and don't know, but maybe even a 10%, maybe even 10 sig tor. It looks pretty bad for tomorrow night's severe weather threat. So before we dive on into it, let's see who we have in here. We have Catman, Caden, Caleb. We also have Jason. We have Bond. V, glad to see you in here, V. We also have Misty and everyone else who is in the chat who may not be chatting and is just watching. Let's go ahead and dive right on into it. And I kind of want to dive into tomorrow first. So real quick, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to skip over today for just a second and talk about tomorrow's risk for severe weather. So tomorrow we have a huge 5%, or rather not a huge 5%, a huge slight risk for severe weather, a huge 2% tornado risk. I really think that should be a very large 5%, if not even potentially a 10% to 10 sig. And the wind risk is 15%, the hail risk is 15%. So they downgraded the hail risk, the wind risk remains the same, and the tornado risk they expanded slightly on the new update earlier this afternoon, I believe is when they downgraded it. I think they kept the enhanced this morning and then downgraded it with the afternoon update. So taking a look at the HRRR here, we got to pull this all the way out. Storms will likely begin to fire towards about 5, 6 o'clock pretty early. You know, that's about this time tomorrow, Eastern time, 5, 6 o'clock originally. And at first, they're going to be mainly large hail, brief spin-up tornado, and isolated damaging winds. That's not going to be the main event. It's going to be what forms after dark, close to 10 o'clock Eastern time. That's going to be your main event when we start to see a line of severe weather form. And there is some uncertainty. Some models have this a lot further to the south, more like down in here being where we see our greatest threat for all significant severe weather hazards. And then other models like the HRRR has it being closer to up in this area. But either way, I think tomorrow has really, really good potential to be a significant severe weather day. Not as significant in terms of damaging winds as today, but I think the tornado threat is actually higher for tomorrow compared to today. If you know what NATOcast is, it's a tornado probability machine learning just model kind of. It mixes models together and then it outputs it, and it's typically posted to Twitter. That has a 5% tornado risk, like right in this area here, which I completely agree with that. But maybe even needed a bit larger than a 5% tornado risk than that. So the environment is going to be very favorable tomorrow. If we take a look at the supercell composite, you could see it's right at that kind of the northern tip of that warm sector. That's going to be where our greatest tornado threat is. It just depends on how high up north that gets. Anything north of that is going to be elevated. So anything north of like right in here, all that's going to be elevated. This entire risk area is going to be mainly just winds and isolated small hail. Further south is going to be a much better chance for all significant severe weather hazards for tomorrow. And don't know why they dropped the enhanced risk, because I really agree with that enhanced risk. They had it right in this area. I think it could have, been shifted a bit east, but in my opinion, I don't think it should have been completely and just utterly disregarded and completely removed. So I do think we could see a couple tornadoes. I think we could see a couple gusts of 70 to 80 mile per hour winds, and I think we could see 2 to 3 inch hailstones for tomorrow. That being said, today we have a pretty good risk for severe storms, including the chance for multiple tornadoes being likely. Maybe even a isolated strong tornado can't be completely ruled out. Damaging winds up to 90, maybe even 100 miles per hour will be possible. And then large hail around 3 inch in diameter will also be a possibility. So big time severe weather is expected today. Potentially even a derecho. We are still on the table for a derecho today. The main bust mode for today was early initiation. And as you can see, buddy, we are clearer than clear. It is blue, complete and utter blue skies out here in western North Dakota. So we are destabilizing very rapidly. Instability is probably approaching 5 to 5.5 thousand in the surface-based layer. I'll go check the mesoanalysis. We're about to get a new one, though. Let's see. I think this is still the one from an hour ago. Okay, no, this is the new one, and in this area that I have circled, the northern side of that circled area has about 4,500. The southern side has 5,500 to almost 6,000 instability. So we're talking about a very unstable environment, and that was the main bust mode, was early convection taking up our primary environment before the main cold front can push through. And that has not happened. That has not happened today. So we should be good to go for a very damaging overnight severe weather event. Storms will really start to get going about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock Eastern time in this region. They're going to fire in central Montana right now. Go over here. They have fired in central Montana, and the main threat here will be isolated large hail upwards of 3 inch in diameter as it drifts off to the east-northeast. Could see a spin-up tornado or two, and also 60 to 70 mile-an-hour winds. And then those should grow upscale into a big MCS, possibly even a derecho, by the time they get towards central, maybe west central North Dakota, somewhere in this general area here. Turning on the SPC outlook, going to the day one wind outlook, you can see that 30 hatch starts right in here, and I agree with where that starts. It seems like that's going to be the best chance for where our MCS or derecho starts, but we could start seeing the 60, 70, and even gusts as high as 80 starting to be a possibility right out here when this gets hatched, this black hatched area. And then that red area is gusts of 90 to even upwards of 100 mile per hour winds being possible. So big time wind bag likely today. We're getting some new model data right now, but overall, our models have not been very good for today's event. They've been very much flip-flopping between supercells and a derecho. No model has handled this well whatsoever. Not even the NAM3K or the HRRR or the RRFSA models. So not really not really using, model runs today. I'm really going off of more of the meso analysis from the SPC website. Snow forecast anytime soon? You're still a good 2 months away from that. What is it? Early August. So yeah, we got to get through all of August, all of September, and then I'll start thinking about it towards the middle of October. But most likely it will be in early November when I do a. I don't think it will be a very in-depth snow forecast, but I'll just do like an update on who could see the most snow. I'm waiting for this new HRRR to render in because things really have been all over the place. The HRRR has been underdoing moisture. It's been underdoing temperatures. It's been underdoing instability. What about wind shear? See if it's somehow been underdoing that. Let me go check. I'm going to check that. See if it's underdoing 0 to 3 kilometer wind shear. It is... it looks like it's handling wind shear pretty well. Yeah, it's not terrible for wind shear. But instability and dew points, it's been doing terrible. I don't know why the HREF has a 15% tornado risk. I don't think tomorrow's going to be that type of day. But I do think we could see multiple tornadoes. We could even be talking about tornado outbreak potential, a regional tornado outbreak being possible for tomorrow. But that's really not going to be determined until tomorrow morning once we figure out how the atmosphere is destabilizing. Let me see if there's a... Let's see here. I don't think I looked... Yeah, I didn't look at the new NAM 3K for tomorrow. The NAM 3K, in my opinion, is way too far south for both today and tomorrow's risk. So I'm not really listening to that model run at the moment. I'll bring up the HRRR on College Dew page. And, I mean, it's such a clear area. Such a clear area. Easy target area for tomorrow. Right along... almost a triple point. This may actually be a triple point. But it's very, very linear, so that's why I don't expect like a crazy strong tornado threat. But I do think we could see multiple tornadoes, maybe even a brief strong tornado. And you can see we have really good wind shear. Really good wind shear, 150 to 200, 0 to 1 kilometer SRH. 0 to 3 kilometer SRH is insane. And your temperatures are in the very low 80s with dew points into the mid to lower 70s. So, tomorrow looks meh, to be honest. I mean, I think we could see a couple tornadoes. In my opinion, I don't know why they dropped the enhanced risk for hail. In my opinion, this should be like a 30 hatched hail, 30% wind, and then a 5% tor. That's what I'm thinking. I don't think a 10 sig or a 10% is needed because it's a linear, clustery, messy mode. So, but when those storms first fire, like right in here, that would definitely be your best chance for a strong tornado when they first get going. And not to mention, you're going to have your lower level jet too, because of when these storms fire. If we have any. Yep, we're going to have a little lower level jet right in here. Anywhere between... Ooh, why is this in miles per hour? Yo, that is annoying. Nah. No, we use knots. Anywhere between 20 to like 35 knot jet stream there. So pretty weak lower level jet stream. And then this is your 500 millibar. You could see it's, I mean, look at that trough, dude. Any trough like that is going to have some pretty good wind shear. Sharply negatively tilted. A big issue is your low pressure is way up here, so you're not going to have a really good triple point. I think I was talking about a triple point. That is not going to be a triple point. So what it's going to be is you're going to have kind of 3 fronts here. I'm going to look at the WPC so that way I make sure I'm not giving you guys incorrect info here. Yep, that is exactly what I was going to draw. That is exactly what I was going to draw. So let's go back to the 500 millibar. So you're going to have a low pressure right up in here. You're going to have a... Actually, why is it so far west on the NAM model? Is that further to the east? So you're going to have two lows, it looks like. You're going to have a low pressure here and a low pressure here. This is going to have a cold front that goes down like this. This one is also going to have an occluding front that goes like this, and then it turns into a cold front. So this is going to be an occluding, dying out low pressure. This is going to be your main low pressure. Both of those are going to be occluding fronts. And this one is a very weak low. So your main low pressure is going to be associated in right in here. That's your main low for tomorrow's event. Main low pressure, main cold front goes all the way down like that. And then you're going to have, see your instability. Well, the NAM is, or rather the GFS is very aggressive for tomorrow. I'm going to go to the HRRR. That way you can see this much clearer. So low pressure right here, cold front. Man, I keep drawing this wrong. It's an occluding front first. So occluding front, then your cold front, then your warm sector goes up and over like that. There you go. And then this low pressure is back up here with a occluding front that goes down like this and then just dies out. So this occluding front's not really going to matter at all. There you go. That's what you're looking at. So this right here, this is your main low pressure. You got a occluding front in the pink, then it turns to a cold front in the blue, and then a warm front in the yellow. And then tomorrow, you got a dying out low pressure with a dead occluding front. So there you go. That's your setup for tomorrow. Yeah, the HRRR doesn't really depict the main low pressure too well. You can see there's not really a lot, there's not a lot of spin happening here. It's a little bit more to the west. It's right in here. So on this particular frame, this is midnight tomorrow. What I just drew earlier, that was early in the morning tomorrow. This is very, very late tomorrow. Midnight, 11 p.m., midnight tomorrow night. And you can see you've got a weak low here, a dying low here, and then it's still the same thing. It's still the same thing. You know, occluding front goes down over this way, occluding front goes down over here, and then it turns... This isn't like that. There you go. Occluding front here, and then it turns down into your low pressure, or your cold front, right in there. It's hard to draw the fronts with this. It's hard to draw the fronts with this because look at your trough. Your trough is completely negatively tilted there. Look how, let me zoom out. Look at your trough. It is angled this way. So your low pressure is up back here, and then your occluding front goes down like this. And then it turns into your other front up here. Low pressure, and then your cold front. There you go. That's what I was trying to draw. And then, like I said, your warm sector goes up like something like that. So you got a dying out low pressure with a newly formed secondary low. Both of them have occluding fronts. And the WPC merges these. So as we go into Saturday, let's see if that low pressure is what happens with that other low pressure. Let's see, do I have a better model run here? Yeah, so both of those low pressures will merge Saturday morning. Both of those will merge into one big old low. Look at that. Dude, that is that is insane. Your low pressure, this is Saturday night, low pressure back here. Your occluding front stretches all the way up like this. And then it turns into your cold front that goes all the way back down to Oklahoma. And then your warm front is way up, like, generally here. That's what your fronts will look like Saturday night. You have this huge occluding front. I mean, look how far your cold front is right in here. You can see the wind direction change. You could see the change in wind direction. So that's your cold front. And your low pressure's way back here. So your occluding front is that long. And then, like I said, it turns into your warm front right in there. That thing is very weird. Very, very weird. And look, your front, your cold front surges ahead. Hold on, I'm going to go look at the WPC for this one. That is crazy how dislocated the low pressure is on Sunday. Gracious day. That's why I'm having a bit of a hard time drawing this, because of how dislocated that low is. Alright, yeah, now you can clearly see. This is a much better map. You can very clearly see your cold front. Dude, I'm just surprised how far that low is. You can easily see low pressure here, and then the WPC says there's a low pressure here. And it turns into your occluded front, something like that. I don't exactly know where the occluded front is. I don't know if this low pressure, if the occluded front goes like this, or if it goes like this. It's either one or the other. Either one or the other. Either it connects to the secondary low, or it stretches down to the cold front. And there's no way to tell that. Like, literally, it's impossible for me to tell you exactly where that occluded front is. That's just not possible. Because you can see there's no change in wind direction. Wow. Such a weird setup for Friday, which is tomorrow. So I'm guessing that's going to lead to the most uncertainty. It's going to depend on where your lows are located. Are we going to have a secondary low that forms or not? The NAM 3K does want a secondary low. Whereas like the HRRR, it barely has a weak secondary low pressure. So strange. So strange. Alright, let's go back to the radar here, see if anything's formed. Nope. Still nothing on our main radar site in South Dakota. Or North Dakota, rather. So I'm going to just keep breaking this down. Look at all that plume of instability down there. So that's your very clear, could not be clearer, warm front right there. And then your cold front here. Switch back to reflectivity. And you can see, it's difficult to see, but you could see the change in winds right in here. And then right in here too. So you have a big low there that's dying out. And then you have a low pressure on the HRRR that's trying to form in here. So low pressure, and give or take here. And give or take back here. And then based on the instability, I'm going to say this front goes up and over like that. And then your occluded front comes back down and connects to the warm front and the cold front. I love drawing this stuff out, but it gets very confusing, especially when you have double lows like this. So that's what I'm thinking for tomorrow, portrayed by the HRRR. It has a low pressure with an occluding front to a secondary low pressure with an occluding front to a cold front with a warm front. And then who knows what this is? Who knows what this is Saturday morning, man? Your cold front is way off. It's off the screen. Your cold front is off the screen. And your low pressure is still back here with your other low pressure in here. Your cold front's off the screen. That's crazy. Let me show you what this looks like on the WPC for Saturday morning. Show you how crazily far that low is. They don't even have it being that far. Like the HRRR has it so much further west than what the WPC is saying. This is the WPC's fronts forecast for Saturday night. And the HRRR has the low pressure being over here. WPC says it's going to be here. And look at that occluding front. Huge, long occluding front. And then that huge cold front into another low back down in here. And then your warm front, cold front up there. Man. So that's going to lead to some big time uncertainty in your model runs for tomorrow's event. Because that low pressure's location, it matters a ton. That matters a absolute ton. That's still a special weather statement. So, yeah, we're keeping an eye on satellite imagery here. Let me go over to weather-wise. So, satellite imagery, visible satellite. We're keeping an eye on the CU field right in here for any development, but nothing is developed. So, our main risk is likely going to come from this stuff over here, moving up to the east-northeast. So, originally, most model runs, aside from the HRRR this morning, was developing maybe even a strong tornado threat out of this CU field here, with the chance for multiple semi-discrete to discrete supercells between 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern time, and just hasn't fired. So, just hasn't fired. Sometimes that happens with the weather. Sometimes things just don't fire. And whilst that's definitely a good thing, you know, that we don't have any strong tornadoes happening anytime soon, I wouldn't rule out a strong tornado, brief strong tornado tonight, but any good strong tornado threat would have to come from these semi-discrete supercells if they were to form, which right now we have none. It's still going to end up resulting in the potential for an MCS2 derecho tonight, because all of this instability is going to be just untapped. We're going to have just a bunch of instability completely untapped. And I mean a bunch of instability. The best spot for tornado ingredients right now is like right up here, where the warm sector meets wind shear from the trough / low pressure. Let's see here. Wow. So right now, our low pressure, we have a low pressure backup in Canada. And that has, I believe, either a dry line or a cold front attached to it, one or the other attached to it. And that's what's going to carry our storms out in Montana. Yeah. So we have a low pressure up here. WPC says dry line. Low pressure here that turns into a dry line that goes down like this, and then we have another low back out in here with a cold front and a warm front, cold front. So right in front of this low pressure, that's going to be the low pressure where your tornado threat would be the highest. And according to mesoanalysis, where is that thing? Okay, it's really far south. Like, your low is actually down here. Mesoanalysis has it way further south than the WPC has it. So I'm going to go off of mesoanalysis because that's the newest update we have. That literally updated like 15, 20 minutes ago. So you have a low pressure down there with minimal lower level wind shear, but the upper level wind shear is really good. Let me show you real quick. Don't I don't know what's causing that amount of wind shear at all. I don't know what that is, but I can tell you our low pressure down here in South Dakota, we have our low is right in here, and then a bunch of wind shear out in front of it. I'm not 100% sure what's causing this wind shear. This is in the 0 to 3 kilometer, by the way. I mean, it's there. Mesoanalysis says it's there. Wonder what's causing that crazy amount of wind shear. So your best spot for tornadoes is where that wind shear in front of the low down here, and then your wind shear up in here. But I don't think we're going to get convection in either one of those places, so that's just your most favorable environment for tornadoes, and I don't see convection happening in either one of those. It's literally a low pressure. Look at this. The WPC is just missing this low pressure. Look at this. Here, let me zoom in. Very clear low. Very clear, strong low up here. That's what's causing your wind shear at that kind of red cross. And then down here, clear surface low. So you got two strong surface lows. I was going off the WPC, so I guess that's my mistake. My mistake. I thought, I just thought it was something crazy or something random happening up there. Maybe even a glitch, but no, it's a surface low. Like, literally, the newest WPC just doesn't have a low pressure anywhere close to up there. That's gotten a lot stronger in the last 2 hours, too. So that's what's causing your wind shear, is surface low pressures, and both of them are... They are strong, but it's not like a crazy strong low pressure. We've got about, what, 100 to 150, 0 to 1 kilometer SRH. Yeah, 100 to 150, 0 to 1 kilometer SRH. And then in the mid-levels, 0 to 6 kilometer, or rather 0 to 3 kilometer, we have 400 with the surface low in South Dakota, and then 600 with the surface low up there in Montana and North Dakota. Do have a severe thunderstorm warning out here. First severe of our event, and it's not going to be the last one out here in Montana. So overall, after going through mesoanalysis and being stupidly confused about low pressures, as you just saw, I think today's going to be mainly a wind threat. I think today's going to be mainly a big-time wind bag. The tornado threat seems to be either focused with a MCS or derecho, whichever one we may see. And I mean, even if we see semi-discrete storms, it doesn't look like there's a good position between your wind shear and your instability. I've always struggled with finding out where low pressures are in fronts. That's always been a struggle of mine. I don't think I'll ever be good at that. Let's see if our... Yeah, lower level jet's not going to play anything big today. It's not going to be something that rapidly ramps up as the sun sets. Like, we're going to see a little bit of a ramp up in our lower level jet, but nothing that's going to be anything concerning. Let's see how much it ramps up by. So, I mean, according to the GFS, it ramps up by, like, nothing. Like, literally, it just doesn't change. So, it's not going to be any big changes with our lower level jet. I think, really, outside of our MCS, any tornado threat is very conditional. say we don't see an MCS today, we're probably not going to get much tornadic activity at all. With how that environment's looking right now. It's very poorly aligned. Your best wind shear is focused down in here and up in here, whilst your best instability is focused like right in this area. Actually, I do want to point out that instability. Look at the mesoanalysis here. Zoom it in really. Let's see. You know what? I'm going to zoom you out. There you go. All right, so see this? This is something I'm going to pay attention to. This little nose right there. That little nose where it seems like the warm sector kind of punches out a bit. Your surface low is right here. That's where your surface low is. So it's just on the north side of your surface low. And then you have another surface low just off your screen, right above that arrow. And so you have winds that are... These winds are rapidly helping to push this instability up to the north. Now, obviously, your low pressure is going to be moving, probably off to the east, if I had to assume. Very gradually moving off to the east, and you can see how much your instability is just going to be slingshotted northwards. So what I'm thinking is, once that, whatever it is, dry line or cold front, that's out there in Montana, currently initiating thunderstorms, once that pushes into this environment here, that's going to congeal everything up into a line. Mixed in with your strong forcing, too. Your strong forcing really arrives late tonight. Let's see here. Give me a second. Okay, so yeah. I really think this is going to be a big wind bag. As long as those storms in Montana don't just fizzle out. See what the new HRRR has here. Yep, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Here you go. Here's the new HRRR. Let me move y'all over here. There you go. So if we push this out, it does have a couple semi-discrete storms. So if that happens, even then your tornado threat is going to be fairly on the lower side of things. Because you just don't have a lot of wind shear. So that would be our best chance for a strong tornado, but you just simply don't have a lot of shear there. And you can see this first line moves through about 10 o'clock tonight, Eastern time. And it's immediately congealed up into a line once it gets to that instability north of our surface low. And then another line pulls in behind that, and it forms one big line. So line, line, and line. That's going to be the story of today. Just an MCS with another MCS that forms into a bigger MCS. That's what the HRRR has. The older HRRR, yeah, disregard, because I mean, really, all these HRRR ones, they're not handling the instability well at all, but you can see that nice, sharp, warm sector that's been pulled up to the northwest from this surface low. So that's your hot spot. Definitely the hot spot for damaging winds is going to be central North Dakota. And that's where the HRRR has a line pushing right through, right in that area. So we'll see how it goes. But there's a lot of uncertainty on the convective evolution. I could easily see this underperforming substantially, damaging wind-wise. All it takes is for prefrontal storms to fire and use up that instability, and then your line's going to be a lot weaker, potentially even dying out. And that's what like the NAM3K had. You can see the NAM3K, it still pulls in a crazy MCS here right along that warm nose is what we're going to call it. That warm nose still has a crazy MCS, but because of prefrontal storms already using up the environment, it dies off as it moves into North Dakota, and you don't get your derecho. But you can see it tries. It tries. It just doesn't strengthen because if we switch to Cape, yeah, the prefrontal storms have pushed all the instability way down here, moving off to the southeast. Whereas the newest HRRR, you can see all that instability because we don't have any prefrontal storms on the HRRR. It keeps it back here with our line. So if we get a lot of prefrontal storms, that's going to equal, a better tornado threat in terms of, like semi-discrete storms producing tornadoes, better hail threat, and then an isolated damaging wind threat. If we don't get prefrontals, we're talking about a huge MCS with brief spin-up tornado potential, maybe even a brief strong tornado being possible. Wonder where that wind shear comes from. It's just as the sun sets, the lower level wind shear increases rapidly, so... If this can wait long enough, it could easily end up being a derecho. Easily. Which I think we're trending that way. I think we're trending more and more towards the derecho scenario. So you can see whatever front this is, dry line or cold front, you could see it. It's right in here. And that's what helps congeal things up into a line. Look at that, you got another low pressure. Man, there's low pressures and fronts all over the place out here. I can't even keep track. There's low pressures and different fronts all over the place. And that's probably why your models have shifted around so much. Let's see if I can show you. Look at this. Look how much they've changed. I mean, every single HRRR run has just changed quite a bit. We had 3 runs of very nice consistency. Look at that nice consistency. 15, 16, 17, and 18Z. And then after that, it started flip-flopping again on us. And then earlier than that, this is going to be where it's probably really bad. Let's see if this is a lot worse. Yeah, look at that. Look at the differences. Look at the difference between every run. Oh, good consistency there. And then it lost it. And I mean, just especially these earlier runs, your low pressure moves so much. And those low pressures matter a lot. So I think we're in store for a big time wind bag with a couple tornadoes, isolated strong tornado. And the hail threat is definitely going to peak. Let me go back over to here. Yeah, tell me about it, Ben. But hey, I need to improve my severe weather forecasting, so give me more challenging setups like this. Obviously, they were definitely thinking prefrontal storms today, because 30 hatched hail risk is really to the really far east. I think if we get any huge hailstones, it's going to be like in here. That was not where I was expecting the hatched hail risk. I think our big time hailstones are going to be limited to Montana and western North Dakota. Back in here. I think that's going to be where our big time hailstones will be. And then your big time damaging wind of it right over in here. However far that may extend eastward. And your main tornado threat would definitely be with that wind event. These storms in Montana, I wouldn't rule out a brief tornado in this circled black area here. But your environment is garbage, really. It's really garbage. I just wouldn't rule out a brief tornado with these storms. But the main tornado threat will be if we can see this MCS or derecho tonight. And then tomorrow, again, low pressures and fronts all over the place, so this is probably going to change a bunch. But I really do think we should see a upgraded risk to 5% out here. in western Montana. Montana? No, Montana's today. Minnesota. This is Minnesota. Western Minnesota and maybe northern Minnesota as well. And what about Saturday? Again, this is probably going to change a bunch because of all the fronts and low pressures all over the place. This wants severe weather in northern Illinois. Saturday night. Interesting. Yeah, that's all over the place, man. Oh, we do got a little storm going up here. I think that's that's a little cell. Probably not going to do much. Honestly, it's probably just going to be a failed updraft. Where is that? Okay, this is just north of this lake. SPC. Okay, I got to figure out the county shapes here. So, yeah, this is fired in a bad spot. Yeah, that's fired in a bad spot. No lower level wind shear. Definitely good instability, but not the best. If it was a good 30 miles to the southwest, it would be in a better spot. And very elevated profile. It's north of the main warm front. So you're talking about 90 temps, 65 dews. Very elevated profile for sure. If it does get going, it will definitely be a it'll definitely be a hailer. So, overall, today's ceiling for damaging winds is very high and very uncertain. It'll be interesting to see how it performs. I put my forecast out on Twitter, and then 4 or 5 hours later, I'm like, you know what? I don't know. This is a very uncertain day. We could easily see 90-mile-an-hour winds, and then we could easily end up doing the complete flop where we end up with an isolated severe storm or two, and not much happens. So we're just gonna want to monitor it, keep an eye on it. But this little guy, if it does manage to become a stronger storm, it's mainly going to be hail, isolated damaging winds. Tornado threat should be low. I definitely don't see today being a tornado day. I do see it being a big-time wind threat as long as we could see storms grow upscale and as long as we don't see too many prefrontal storms. And I don't think we'll have a problem with things growing upscale as long as we keep that good open warm sector, which we're still keeping it. But either way, tornadoes, I just find it's going to be a bit difficult to get them unless it's in an MCS. Are you going to stream on Saturday, TRG? It depends on when I'm going to see my family. I can either go tomorrow or I could go Saturday. It just depends. I'm not too sure if I want to cover tomorrow's thread or not. Oh, there's a severe watch. So there's your severe thunderstorm watch just got issued. Probably nothing too crazy. I would imagine hail is going to be the biggest prob on that. It's actually wind and hail. Both tied 50-50 for both hail and wind probs. So it is a 20, 20, 05, 50, 50, 50, 50. 20, 05, 50, 50, 50, 50. Yeah, the problem is we don't have a lot of wind shear at all, but it's also a very elevated profile too. Our temperatures are very high and our dew points are not as high. Much of our dew points are in the low 70s, upper 60s, so it's not a good profile for tornadoes. I don't see today being a big tornado day. Unless we get an MCS or a derecho. And even then, well, it would be dark too, so we'll just have to see. If this stuff can really grow upscale and intensify over the next 4 or 5 hours, and then our main event starts at like 10 o'clock tonight Eastern time, then we could, we're definitely going to see a good chance for tornadoes. But in the middle of the day, like for the next 4 hours straight, I see mainly hail being a big issue. Isolated 60-mile-an-hour winds could get a gust of 70 and a brief tornado. And then after 10 o'clock, assuming we do see an MCS, that's your best chance for widespread 60 to 80-mile-an-hour winds. Some gusts could be as high as 90 miles per hour. And then a couple tornadoes likely. And that hail threat would go down as things grow upscale. Still could see 2-inch in diameter hail past midnight, but that main hail threat will be from now till like 10, 11 Eastern. And then we'll just see what happens tomorrow when tomorrow comes. So just if you're in this risk area, remain hyper weather aware. So storms are firing on the west side of this risk area out there near Billings, Montana. They will gradually grow upscale with time, and the main threat from now till about 11 p.m. or so will be hail up to 3-inch in diameter, 70-mile-an-hour winds, and a brief tornado. After 11 p.m., 10, 11 p.m. Eastern time, the wind threat should drastically increase, assuming everything goes forecasted. The wind threat should increase rapidly, widespread 60 to 80-mile-an-hour winds, a couple tornadoes likely, 2-inch hail being possible, and could see some wind gusts of 90 miles per hour. These guys, yeah, we do have some storms in north central North Dakota, but I mean, those will just be hailers if they can get going. That's a big if. I mean, that's going to be right on the border of Canada and North Dakota. But yep, they are going. The little blip ain't doing much. Not much happening with him. It's just staying as a tiny little blip. It's weakened actually a bit. At least on reflectivity. Those storms in North Dakota, far northern North Dakota, I mean, already got some lightning with it, some heavy DBZ. Now, if that's what our blip looked like, I'd be more concerned back out in west central North Dakota. But this is in northeastern North Dakota, so yeah, it's not doing too hot. I figured it was just going to die right out because it formed north of the main warm front. I do see this is literally formed on a pocket of 5,000 instability. Like, this is formed in a absolute perfect spot in terms of hail. That's like one of the best spots for hail, right up here. Question is, can it grow upscale and continue to intensify? What's going to happen with it? Because I don't know what type of forcing we have up here or what's going to happen at all with that. Right now, the HRRR doesn't want it doing much, but then again, the HRRR is wrong all the time, so... I don't know, we'll see how it plays out, but I just came on here for an update, to be honest with you. I'm probably not going to stick around any longer. I'll keep an eye on things, and if I'm available, I'll come back on here, but I just really came on here to update you guys on the severe threat and let you know about the following risks. I may or may not be live tomorrow. I'll let you know in a community post sometime tomorrow afternoon if I decide to stream or not. And may or may not be back tonight. It just depends on how things end up going. Today could literally be a complete underperformance, or it could be an MCS. So we'll see. No, it's not a coverage stream. I'm gonna stay a little longer. I'm just not gonna go for like 6 hours straight into the overnight hours for a risk that might completely underperform. And even then, the main threat's overnight. So that's all your severe watch. We don't have a severe watch in North Dakota. Your severe watch literally gets cut off right on the North Dakota, South Dakota, and Wyoming, Montana borders. That's all it is for your severe watch. I love when models flip-flop all the time. Nothing better. Hate forecasting summer thunderstorm events. So, again, our little blip up here just died, so not really watching that anymore. This may or may not grow strong enough to produce hail. We'll just need to watch it to see how much it grows. If it does, it's mainly going to be hail, isolated winds of 60 miles per hour. Hail threat could be pretty high with that. I mean, if it really goes, like, it could produce as much as 3-inch hail, but the problem is, I don't think there's much to really help it grow. There's a good amount of cape, but wind shear is quite lacklustering. Let me look at effective bulk wind shear. There's a lot of bulk wind shear, so... But like in the lower level wind shear, mid-level wind shear is just not there, so... it might be able to grow upscale and intensify with the amount of instability it has. It has a lot of cape. Almost 5,000. Yeah, it's still an enhanced risk. It is still enhanced. I'd be pretty surprised if it wasn't enhanced, because we still have that potential tonight. It's just, there's high uncertainty on how things are going to evolve. HRRR is back to initiating a bunch of supercells now. Gotta love this model run. Let me see if I could show y'all. Oh, I'm not able to. I was going to show you on Radar Omega. So again, just here's your SPC outlook. Big 5% tornado risk across much of North Dakota for that first wave of potential prefrontals, which could form anytime between now and 10 o'clock. But that main 5% is likely for the MCS that's possible in the overnight hours. If we go to the SPC discussion here, let's see here. I want to find where they say it. So tonight, the primary uncertainty continues to be small-scale storm dynamics with upscale growth. The potential for Boeing MCS rear inflow jet development. Should this actually occur, we'll have the chance for a gust greater than 80 miles per hour through tonight. However, it remains uncertain and conditional. Some cam models have tonight being an MCS possible derecho. Others just have it being some semi-discrete storms and then everything falls apart. Either way, it looks like a pretty good hail day at least. Our first severe is for 1.25-inch hail. Big hail spike on that. Radar Omega just crashes on me half the time. Yep, that's Radar Omega for you. I use Weatherwise the most still. Hopefully they add model runs sometime this year. Blips just died right out. Look at that. Just not doing good for the blips. I mean, at first, the prefrontals was expected to be our main event. Like, the morning HRRR runs had explosive supercells at 3 o'clock, and then a MCS2 derecho at 8 o'clock in central North Dakota. And then a second MCS towards midnight towards southwestern North Dakota. Getting the new HRRR in right now. Our main wind gust will definitely be with the second round, which is going to be in southeastern Montana around 11 o'clock Eastern. So that will get to North Dakota closer to probably 1 a.m. Eastern is when it will get to west central North Dakota. And then according to the HRRR, our peak threat is closer to midnight to 3 a.m. Okay. So we'll just keep on watching it. Keep on watching this severe storm. I mean, it's the only severe storm happening right now. Nothing in North Dakota, aside from our one storm way up here in northeastern North Dakota. I'm just waiting for the rest of this HRRR to render in here. What are you talking about there, Catman? Talking more about school? Oh, man. Job. Jobs for Caleb. Yeah, right. He's still in school. I don't know how this stuff is supposed to be our main event. Um, don't ask me. I have no idea. Today's looking worse and worse by the moment. At least according to what our storms are actively doing. Like, the environment is really good for damaging winds. It is really good for damaging winds. It just doesn't look like we're going to have good enough storms to move into that area until, like, midnight. And by the time it's midnight, I mean, this is what the new HRRR is. I just don't even know anymore. I don't even know anymore. Like, what's this? What even is this? Man, second season's probably not going to have much. I mean, last year we only had like what, one or two events in second season. I mean, this season's probably not going to do much for second season, tornado wise. I forgot how annoying it is to forecast events like this. These MCS events always flip flop all the time. Like the derecho in Texas, the derecho in southern Kansas earlier this year too, or not that neither one of those, they were derecho potentials but actually didn't live up to derechos. So it was derecho potential in Kansas, derecho potential in Texas, both moderate risks. Both of those flopped. Um, I don't remember another moderate that flopped, but I know we had another derecho potential in North Dakota that completely flopped. And then we have one today that looks like it's probably about to flop. That's your main storms right there. If we loop it, you could see a huge amount of spin over here. Especially right in this area. That's your low pressure. Spinning around up here. Your main storms right in here. That's your main storms that are supposed to move up this way over the next few hours. And then eventually make it to North Dakota sometime near midnight. I mean, now the HRRR is stronger than ever. This is literally the strongest damaging wind model run we've had. The strongest wind speeds on a model run for today. shows 90 mile-an-hour winds. I think that's the highest we've had on a model run. Dude. Completely different scenarios. .45 sig wind. I don't know at this point. I have no idea. I was on board with a moderate risk, but now, I mean, it's such a 50-50 risk. It is so 50-50. Either we're going to see 80 to 90 mile-an-hour winds tonight, maybe even isolated gusts a little greater than 90, or we're just going to see 60 to 70 mile-an-hour winds, barely any tornado threat, and the hail threat will end up being the main story tonight. So I do not know. But either way, I'll be watching it. If something crazy does happen, we'll come back on here. But I'm going to head off, so I hope you guys have a great rest of your Thursday. I may see you tomorrow. If I do, I'll just let y'all know tomorrow afternoon. I'll let you know when I will stream next. Either stream tomorrow or stream Saturday. We'll just see. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you much for my chat, and I will catch y'all in the next one. This was just a quick update live stream because I don't know what's going to happen with this event. If it looks like it's going crazy, then I may hop back on here. Just make sure you're weather aware if you're in the main risk area. And main threat tonight, definitely hail for the next few hours. And then past 10 o'clock, damaging winds should rapidly increase past 10 o'clock Eastern time. So again, appreciate all the mods for tuning in and modding chat. I'll see you guys either tomorrow or on Saturday. It just depends. Either way, it's going to be a live stream, so we'll just see. But I'll catch you guys either tomorrow or on Saturday. Stay safe and watch severe weather. See you in the next one. Goodbye. Stay safe, rest of your weather, and I'll see you guys in the next live stream. That'll either be tomorrow or on Saturday. Have a great rest of your